Oh, friends, family, welcome to our 286th Sunday gathering. It seems really hard to believe that we've been at it this long. If we have not yet met, I'm Sandra. I'm joined by my good friends, Kath and Mitch Shirley, a husband and wife team. They're not only mediums and great people, but they are advanced grief recovery specialists. They host our monthly grief cafe, and they're just all around great people. I feel like I've known them forever, although we've never got to hug each other. They are dear, close friends of mine. So together we'll join you for this Sunday gathering and whatever it was that brought you here, whether it was just randomly seeing a Facebook post of mine or you've been coming for a long, long time, we welcome you. Each week, we aim to do a few things, really. In a world that has so much unrest and grief and pain and anger and sickness and so many different things, there are moments of joy, of course, but we come together as a community of, I call us shining lights all over the world. We usually have somewhere between 130, 150 people each week all around the world. And we try to deliver uplifting messages, messages of hope, words of inspiration. We have a theme usually each week. There's a medium demonstration included, healing. And so at the end of our gathering, you know that our loved ones are still alive. We don't die. We'll see them again. They support us in our life, but also some tools to support each one of us. And then hopefully you leave with a little smile on your face or feeling a little bit lighter than perhaps you were when you first came. Songs, as you can tell, are about change, embracing change. And I'm sure if I were to ask each and every one of you, where does change come from? You might say, from within. Do we wait for things to happen or do we make them happen? So, in our own creative ways, we're going to just be unfolding that conversation. Kath and Mitch will be doing our prayers today, our demonstration of mediumship, our address. You've got me for the reading and healing and the little bits in between. But I want to just welcome you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving your time to us today. So, with that, I'm going to turn it over to one of my friends for the opening prayer.
I've been given the honor this time. It's very unusual. Lord. Divine and infinite Father, we come to you this day in service of one another, for in bringing who we are, we collectively build a power and energy that can be drawn upon to create this opportunity. And in that creation, we bring forward the love that we have within us, but also the love of our loved ones who have gone before us, for all that we love. For it is within that beauty of that love, of that understanding, that we as a soul develop. For that love brings light where there is lack of light. Because in reality, there is no dark. There is only a lack of light. And so that light that is within us, let us understand how we allow it to emanate from us. Let us know how we can make that light and that love spread throughout this world to change ourselves and our understanding, but also to bring that to others, to bring that tolerance, to bring that ability to listen to each other, to truly be in touch, soul to soul, to feel also that presence of the divine God, yours, that is that within all of us, that binds all of us, that binds all within this world, all creation. So let us not look for the differences. Let us look for the similarities. Let us look to bring an understanding and question why, but gently, not to accuse, but to try to understand, to question, to draw us closer to that appreciation of who we are and who everyone else is. And within that light of love, Father, we open this gathering, this reunion, to bring us that little bit closer for that little time that we take, but so that it may lift us throughout this coming week. And we thank you, Father, for this opportunity. Amen.
Thank you so much, Mitch. Okay, you got the reading from me. I call it the two wolves and the two jars. We all know it's easy to look at the world right now and feel helpless. We see so much division and anger and grief that it can feel like a heavy fog upon us. We wish we could change it. But how? The most profound spiritual truth is that the world doesn't change from the outside in. It changes, of course, from the inside out. And it starts with the words we use, the thoughts we think, and the energy we choose to feed. There is a timeless story of an old Cherokee chief teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside me, he said to the boy. It is a terrible fight, and it is between two wolves. One wolf is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, and ego. He continued, the other is good. He is joy, peace, love, serenity, hope, humility, kindness, empathy, generosity, truth, and compassion. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too. The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, which wolf will win? The old Cherokee simply replied, the one you feed. On the other side of the world, a mother was teaching her children this very same lesson. She was inspired by the work of Japanese researcher Dr. Emoto, who believed our words and intentions have physical power. Following his experiment, she cooked a batch of white rice. She placed half in one sealed jar and half in another. She put the jars in separate rooms. Every day, the family would go into the first room. They would hold the jar and shower it with loving words. Thank you, they would say. You are beautiful. We love you. They sent it thoughts of gratitude and joy. And every day, they would go into the second room. There, they would direct their frustration, anger, resentments, all at that jar. They would shout at it, you are ugly. We hate you. You are worthless. You're not smart enough. You're not good enough. You know, all those things we often tell ourselves. They sent it thoughts of dismissal and hate. They did this for 30 days. At the end of the month, the mother brought both jars into the kitchen for her children to see. The result was stunning. The first jar, the one that had been fed love and gratitude, was a beautiful gold and white color. And when they opened it, it gave off a sweet, nutty, fermented aroma. But the second jar, the one that had been fed hate and anger, was a sickening, moldy black. This is a true story, by the way. You can do this experiment yourself. And when they opened it, the smell of the black jar was foul and putrid. The rice had rotted completely. The Cherokee grandfather, the Japanese mother, Dr. Emoto, they all show us the same profound truth. The energy we put out, our thoughts, our intentions, our words, they're not just empty air. They are a powerful force that creates the world around us. And most importantly, it creates the world within us. So think about this. Our bodies are over 60% water, and the earth itself is over 70% water. If words of love can preserve a jar of rice, and words of hate can cause it to rot. What are the words you speak to yourself, doing to the very water that gives you life? Which wolf are you feeding inside your own miraculous body? There is a timeless piece of wisdom that gives us the pathway. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, because that becomes your destiny. So let the words you choose today for yourself and for others be words of love, so that the beautiful river of life that flows through you can be clear, harmonious, and forever peaceful. Thank you for listening to my reading. Okay, we're going to go into our healing segment, and Kath has picked a beautiful song. And as we think of Dr. Emoto's experiments, if we take a moment and just send out a loving prayer for those in need and for situations in need, and I know some pets in need too, for all out there, have that loving intention. And then as the music plays, Dr. Emoto said that music can really change that vibration as well. So this song is beautiful, but it's my prayer for you that this music just sends that healing to you as well, and for all mankind, for our thoughts and our words to be healing and loving and grateful and beautiful. So with that, we're going to hear the song. And then when the song ends, we're going to hear from Kath and Mitch for our address.
Just excuse while Mitch is going to give the dogs a treat to keep them quiet. So do apologise if you can hear all the rustling. Hi, Sandra. Hello, everybody. Seamless. Nobody noticed anything, of course. Yes, today, thinking about change, I messaged Sandra. Oh, I was up late and you were up early, maybe, something like that. And I'd been watching these videos of ladies, predominantly ladies, who were in a salon, and they all had the same kind of, I want to say difficulty, but it is really, and it was about their view and their self-worth and their confidence. And they sat in a salon in a chair, and some of the ladies were experiencing baldness, or partially, but definitely a thinning of the hair, starting sort of at the front here for most of them, for various different reasons. And I watched from the beginning and to the end. I sat for quite a while watching lots and lots of different ones. I even tagged Sandra into one of them so she could have a look at them. And honestly, they are the most amazing videos. And this young man, he's got a wonderful way with him. And it really was amazing, as Luther Vandross said, and they were amazing. They put their complete trust in this young man to help them change. Yes, it's only a physical change. However, it went much, much deeper than just a physical change. And so, first of all, they did the first snip. So they held a piece of hair up and then they snipped it away. So that was the first change in accepting what was to come. And of course, whilst they were having their hair cut and coloured and perhaps straightened and then styled, they couldn't see what was going on. They hadn't got a mirror in front of them. And then came the big reveal. And wow, it really was stunning, because all of them sort of went, oh, and one lady, I think she was 96 years of age. So she went in, and in her wheelchair, and she let him do his thing. And she looked at herself. Mitch has seen this one as well. It's a complete makeover. And she sort of goes, is that me? Who is this woman looking back at me? It is absolutely beautiful. But what I was struck with was, you know, through our lives, we all do things in our lives. We have responsibilities in life. We have roles and we have jobs, and we do things in life that perhaps we feel define us. Perhaps we feel we are defined by what we do in life or what we have done in life. And I listened to this young man, and he said about the fact that we get to a point in our lives where we change. And I thought about this and I thought, we definitely do. We definitely do change, but we don't always recognize when that change has taken place within us. And I know that we all understand that feeling of a before and an after when something serious or something life-changing has happened. Life-changing events take place in everybody's life. And I do feel that we can all agree when we say, yes, before this happened and after this happened. So before COVID, we didn't have a Sunday gathering. We didn't know what that was, but from COVID and after COVID, almost coming up for 6 years, Sandra, can you believe it? We all know the Sunday gathering, those who join for whatever reason. You might not join every week. You might be joining now. You haven't seen it for a while. I don't know. You might be here for the first time, but it's all welcoming and it's all encompassing and it's a whole life experience. It's not just an evening. It's an experience that you will hopefully take away with you. And I think, you know, when you get to that point in life where the role of a woman, the role of a man, a daughter, a son, a wife, a husband, a mom, a dad, brother, sister, friend. All of those things are important in our lives and they do define who we are, but not solely who we are, because inside we're still functioning. We're still getting on with our lives, and somehow, sometimes that might feel a little bit like a maze that we don't know where to get out from. Sometimes in life, we find ourselves in situations that are so difficult that we don't know how to even help ourselves. And yet, here we are today. And I think that when we get to that point in our lives where we can say, I am not simply a daughter, a wife, a mom, a nanny. I am me. I am my own person. And with all of that and all that life has offered me so far, in however old you are, so however many years you've been walking this earth, I'm now at a point in my life where I'm going to be me, just to be Catherine, just to be Sandra, Mitch, just simply to be, to exist. And I think that we all get to these points in life and don't necessarily remember or acknowledge that exact point when that's happened, that's taken place. I think it's also true to say that we get to a point in our lives when we don't feel it totally necessary to explain ourselves, to apologize for ourselves and who we are. We should be able to look in the mirror and look inside ourselves and say, I like who I am. I like that I've become me. I like that I don't have to pretend anymore to like something or to be something that I am not, or that I no longer am. Because when you look at your lives, you've all changed. We've all changed. We don't necessarily know how, and we don't necessarily remember when. But in every person's life, I can guarantee that we are not the same people we were even 6 months ago. We are different. And I do believe that we tend to get to a time in our lives when we like who we are, when we can see ourselves in that mirror. You know, who is that? Good Lord, where did those wrinkles come from? Where does this white hair come from? Where does this arthritis come from? Oh my days. However, for all the negatives and the aches and the pains and the things that come to us with age, I think one of the best things that comes with age is that satisfaction in knowing that we are being true to who we are, and thank God for that. Thank God for the reconciliations. Thank God for the acknowledgements. Thank goodness for who we are and all that we contribute to the lives of other people, and for those lives who've contributed to who we are. You know, it's nice to be us, don't you think? It's nice to say, I haven't done such a bad job after all. And the change that comes in life, yes, there's many things that we might not appreciate, you know, but overall, I think it's a good thing when we can look back and say, oh, all those experiences, you know, we have had some amazing experiences in our lives. And I count myself lucky for having Mitch in my life. He doesn't always think that I think that sometimes because he's laughing at me now. But I love the bones of the man. And I wouldn't be where I am without him, and without our lives together, without our children being in our lives, and all the ups and downs. We all have to have our go-to people. And thank goodness for those as well. And now I'm going to end my ramblings, as I always call them, and hand it over to my lovely husband, Mitch.
Just before we started, Kath was like, so how are we going to do this then? Which is quite normal for us. So I often get accused of being louche and like, yeah, whatever, and I'll just go with it. It doesn't bother me. As long as there's a bit of structure, I'll bounce about within that. But that's that thing of being me, as Kath was saying before, about being comfortable who you are. But obviously, there's also a respect that you have to have for others, and actually recognize the strengths that they have and the strengths that you have, and how we can knit them together, and also recognizing the differences. And in my working life, there was one particular guy who I'd employed multiple times at different companies because I knew what his strengths were. I also knew his weaknesses because I'd known him by the time we did separate ways. I'd known him for 10 years. And he was the best person I've ever known in my life for doing indignant. He was brilliant at it, and he used to play on it, and he'd be mortified by something. It's completely outrageous, and he would just play that. But he was very stuck at times on certain aspects. And I am a person who I will listen and I will consider, and then I will come back to you. So if you've made something that I'm not quite sure, I'll go, okay, I'll take that on board, whether it's a criticism of myself or something that I've done, and then I may come back to you and say, okay, I'm not sure about that, but I can accept that, and I can and not accept this. But I'm also a person who accepts the teachings that I've been given and understand from the spirit world about having to rely upon myself to meet them halfway. So instead of expecting the spirit world to change everything, expect them to help you and meet you halfway, so you travel as well as they do. And Bob had a problem with his knee, and it became such a problem because he played semi-professional soccer, as you would say, and he had difficulty getting into the car that I had at the time, which was quite low. So unfortunately, and I don't want to drag the graphic details, but he used to get in backside first and slide down the seat. And I was like, I always feel as though I should put a cover on it whenever we had to go and do things where both of us were together. And you'd go, oh, my knee, this, that, and the other. And I go, well, this went on for quite a few months, if not a year or so. And I said, what have you done about it? Well, I spoke to a doctor, right? And what did they say? Well, they said it was probably this. Okay. And you accepted that? Yes. So you're not prepared to change anything else or speak to anybody else. There's one person who you've spoken to, you accepted that. That's the way that it is. Yes. I said, right. So you're not prepared to see another doctor get a second opinion? No. Why? I said, well, if you moan at me one more time about your knee, I said, I'll start clipping you around the head until you shut up about it. Why? I said, well, you're not prepared to change. What you have and what you are going through and what's happening in your life is the same. You're not changing anything. So why do you expect your knee to miraculously get better? So eventually he goes, oh, he says, you're a hard man, you are. I said, Bob, you know me better than that. And you know that I love you. You know that. Things that have gone on between the two of the relationship they've had, the help that both have given one another. You know that. So I'd rather be cruel to be kind. So he then went back and saw a different doctor, who then sent him to be checked for other things. And 6 months later, he had the operation on his knee because they found out what the problem was, because he had scans and he had different things done, and he found out that there was a problem. And 6 weeks after that, he could get in and out of the car like anybody else. And he said, thanks, boss. I needed that kick up the backside. And that's all of us. There are times when we need a kick up at the backside. We need to be given reality. And whilst we might all be people, want to be kind, we want to empathize and listen to somebody, we may have within us the need to be honest and give the truth. Or we may be giving just our opinion, and our opinion might not be right. And when we look at what's going on within this world, so many times it's based on opinion, because one or another, or a large group or a small group, think their opinion is the truth, is the reality. But there's so much in this life, when you dig into it and you actually check it, it turns out to be a load of rubbish. Prior to the recent election, a person who I know and I played rugby with many, many years ago, and he came to our wedding, put a post on from somebody else. And this post showed the first page of a government website regard to immigrants and what they would be entitled to, and this, that, and the other. Because in this country, there is so much about immigration. And Kush said, oh, this is terrible. This comment's terrible. What I did, because I found it quite ironic, I went and checked the link. And lo and behold, there was a page 2, which hadn't been posted. Because that didn't support the argument. So the complete picture was completely different than what the initial statements were about. When the full reality came out, what people would and wouldn't get. And then in reality, they needed to survive on less than £8 a day. So what we're looking at, $11 to live, to buy all the things that they would need. They would have the food and the roof over their head in a place, in a supported place, but to buy all your clothes, all your medications and different things. And the reason why I found it so ironic, his surname was Kushmider. His dad was born in Ukraine, and he came over many, many years earlier as an immigration, through immigration, to be a miner in the area closer to us. And Kush was born in this country, but his father and his mother were both from Ukraine. And it struck me that somebody who was just that one step away from being an immigrant would reject that opportunity for anyone else. And so often people lose the irony because of the changes that are affecting them. But actually look into your own history. The support that you enjoy. If you don't help somebody now and change your attitude to actually that one of gratitude and see the benefits and recognize that, well, okay, there will always be people who will take advantage. There will always be people who think they're smarter than the rest and can get one over us. But if they do it once. And if we say no, well, I've given you this opportunity, and stand by it. Because if we don't stand for what we feel is right, if we don't stand to support somebody else, how can we change this world for the better? If we don't support each other, because the day will come, as Kath was saying about all the aches and pains and everything else, the day will come when somebody needs to pay my pension because I'm paying my mum's now and I'll pay my dad's. But if I don't help them when I can, why should they help me when I need it? When I need that help? So if we change and look not just for today, look for tomorrow and look at the past and bringing that together and think, how can we make this world a better place? How can we help somebody, as Kath said, with the different videos and the way that you see the soul lift? But in all aspects, it needs to be reasonable and fair. But check out the rhetoric around everything. Dig. Don't just be like Bob. The first doctor told him nothing could change because that was the situation. But when he did investigate that bit further and push, he found out that was a new opportunity, that life could be better through doing a little bit of work. And in this life, we do a little bit of work, we'll get met halfway. The spirit world will work with us to help us to actually change the world and change ourselves. And it has to begin with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mitch and Kath, for your words on change. We're going to move into our demonstration of mediumship now, but I just happened to notice we have a VIP here. Rosemary, it's your birthday. Happy birthday from all of us on the Sunday gathering. Friends, if your birthday's ever on a Sunday gathering, let us know in the chat box. You're special to us, and those birthdays are a special day to celebrate you. So happy birthday, Rosemary. So we're going to move on to our demonstration of mediumship now. This is an opportunity just for our friends in the spirit world to let us know they're still alive, as is this little fly in front of my face, and we will see them again. Now, there will be some members of our community that will get readings today, but I 100% believe the friends that come through on the Sunday gathering, they're like Kath and Mitch and myself. They are speaking on behalf of all of our loved ones in the spirit world, letting us know that they're still alive. They're still part of our life. We can still talk to them. We can quiet our mind and pay attention. They can show us signs and let us know that they're still around. So as you hear these readings today, pull them towards yourself, like these words are just for you, because I really think they are. They're here for all of us. That being said, Kath and Mitch are our demonstrating mediums today. And whether you are on our Sunday gathering or you book a medium reading anytime in the future, your job is important. It's important if you work with a medium just to say yes, no, or I don't know. Let them do the work. Don't feed the medium. If they ask you questions, don't let them. I got an M energy here, a male. Who is it? That's no good. Just give them a yes, no, or I don't know. So Kath and Mitch will talk to the spirit team in the spirit world in their own way. I don't know how they plan who comes forward on our gatherings. I know each and every one of us usually pray to our loved ones, can you come through today? But like I said, if you pay close attention, you realize that the words and the evidence, it's like, hey, I can take that on board myself. So I do think they are cleverly planted just for that. But as Kath or Mitch describes someone in the spirit world that has connected with them, we want everybody to be on the edge of your seat. Is this your person? Now, your person could be a loved one, could be a family member, could be a friend, could be somebody you worked with, could be somebody from your past, could be somebody a little bit distant. They work in weird and wonderful ways, just as we human beings do. But if you can understand the description of the person that they spoke about, we want you to press your raise hand button. Now, because we have, it's 130 people here with us now, if you can just take a part of it, don't raise your hand, because what happens is we'll get 19 people that can take a part of it. So to just get to the person quick enough that this person is here for, please just press your raise hand button if you can take all of the information. So this is the time. Go look on your device. Where is that raise hand button? And press it for me. Sometimes if you're on another device, you might need to press 3 dots before that raise hand button appears. So this is just audience participation. And why I ask this and ask this every week is sometimes there are 2 or more people that can take all the information. So you'll notice that raise hand button changes and says lower hand. Well, Kath or Mitch, or whichever medium we have, will continue to work and give other information. So if you hear something, you say, oh no, that doesn't resonate with me, then we want you to lower your hand. It's not easy sometimes using technology, working with the spirit world and people all over the world. Sometimes things happen, but we do the very best we can, as we know. So if everybody wants to press their lower hand button right now, you can do that for me. And yeah, that's pretty much how it works. If you are the last hand standing, so to speak, I press a button on my side. You're going to get a flash on your side that says host would like you to unmute. And then, and only then, you'll see that unmute button up here. And I know for our new folks with us, sometimes you wonder why you can't see everybody else that's on the Sunday gathering. Well, this is by nature of Zoom. If we have over 100 people, which we always do, we use what's called the webinar style. So if you get that little button to unmute yourself, please do. Again, all we need from you is a yes, no, or I don't know. And so everybody leaves today knowing that Kath or Mitch are really working with our loved ones in the spirit world they're not getting the information from our side of life. We always like to play a piece of music before we begin. Sometimes it's a real peppy feel good. Other times it's sentimental and special. And this is one of those. It's 100,000 Angels by Bliss. So if you just want to sit back and if you want to close your eyes, great, or keep your eyes open. But if your loved ones, as they are by your side, feel sending you that love, maybe just reminisce. And as much as we think, oh, that's just our imagination, well, our creativity side of us is how they communicate. I'm 100% convinced that our imagination, that creativity center, gives us more gifts than we can possibly imagine. So we're going to play the song, and then we'll be back with the demonstration. Here we go. That is a beautiful song. Thank you for sharing that, Kath.
It is beautiful, isn't it? Sort of gets the hairs on the back of your neck to stand up, doesn't it? And in a change, we're going to do double links. So we changed for this evening.
Exciting.
As I was sitting there, oh, by the way, this is how it usually works, but it could change. Who knows? Usually I start the link and Mitch joins in as well. So that's how it usually goes. But there's nothing to say Mitch won't start a link and I'll join in with him. But that's usually, this is how you usually do it. And as I was sitting there then, I was aware of a gentleman, and I do believe his name is Edward. And as I was linking there with Edward, I felt that before he passed to the spirit world, his mind was not always focused, and he found it difficult to concentrate. And I just felt that there was a little bit of confusion there with Edward. I don't know what relationship he is at the moment. I just got Edward. And does that someone understand Edward in the spirit world, please? Who you would know had problems with his mind before he passed to the spirit world. Sheila.
Thank you. If you can understand this information, press your raise hand button. And Sheila does have her hand went up straight away. Sheila, if you could press your unmute button, and Linda also has her hand raised.
Okay. Hi, Sheila.
Hi.
You understand Edward?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And just hang on a minute, Linda. And would you understand, Sheila, that your Edward was a very kind and compassionate man, although I also feel that he didn't put up with any nonsense, and he would tell people if he thought something was nonsense. So he could be quite honest in his opinions and in his views, but essentially I'm aware of a very kind and compassionate gentleman. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay. And would you also understand, Sheila, that in his younger days, life was really hard, very difficult for Edward. I felt that, yes, he had a hard upbringing. Does that make sense as well?
the family wasn't rich. They were relatively poor.
Okay, and I am aware here that from a young age, I want to say in his teenage years, he had to make decisions that affected the rest of his life. I almost felt that Edward had to move. Would you understand that, Sheila?
I don't know about the moving. No,
Okay. Linda, does that make sense to you?
That's the only thing that I'm not sure of, Kath.
Okay. The moving.
Yes, correct.
Bear with me. So if you don't understand that, would you understand, Sheila, would you understand with your Edward a sense of, I don't feel that he stayed in one place, you see. I feel that he moved away from where his early years were.
no, that's,
No, you don't understand that.
yes, it's not appropriate.
Yeah. Yes, no, I don't know. Linda, does that make sense to you that he moved away from where he was, where his early years were?
The only time that I'm aware of that he was away from where he was raised was when he was in the service.
Okay. Okay. And as I'm aware of Edward, would you understand him being able, and going back to his later years now, when there was some confusion, would you understand that this part of his life was something that he spoke of, even though he was confused and wouldn't have remembered things that were happening on a daily basis?
Not to me.
Okay, Linda.
Well, the confusion that I was aware of before my father passed was he had a stroke. So that's what I think could have brought on confusion for him. Other than that, um, that's that's how I make sense of what you're saying as confusion. He did have 2 strokes before he passed.
Okay, and would you understand, Linda, him talking about and quite lucid about his earlier life and yet struggling with the day-to-day things when he was unwell?
He was very quiet and didn't talk a lot about his younger years because he did have um, a very hard upbringing.
Okay. I can see there's another lady who's put her hand up. Veronica, sorry about this, ladies. It sometimes takes a little bit, doesn't it? Veronica, does this make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
All
All,
of it.
all of what you said, the moving, the hard upbringing, remembering the past, but not remembering the present.
Okay. That feels right to me. That feels right. And Veronica, you would also understand with your Edward a sense of real gratitude, even though life had been difficult, he would still talk about things that made him smile, and things that he had fun doing when he was a child, when he was a young man, even though life was still very difficult for him.
Yes, I can say that. Yep, I can
Yeah,
accept that.
okay. Are you
It's all right. I was just trying to sort the dog out. So this is a whole new experience.
the
And
dog's crying?
she knows I can't sort her out or shout at her, so she's like, I'm not doing as I'm being told. But would you understand that we're just actually bringing in that particular aspect, that this gentleman would have loved animals and in particular dogs.
Yes.
And it's like he had an affinity and would actually use the dog as a form of therapy, where he would express things to the dog that he wouldn't in speaking necessarily to other people.
Yes, when he was older. Yes, absolutely.
Because I just felt that of like trying to give that instruction. And what I'm also aware of is that he liked to be around people who had energy and, as he would have said, something about them. He didn't want to be just with one particular type of people. There was times when he liked to be quiet and insular, but he also liked to be around people, not necessarily the center of attention, but I'm aware that I like to be around people with a bit more oomph, as a way of expressing it.
Yes, I could accept that. Yep, yep.
Okay, because
Also being center of attention.
but it's like he would still give other people, you know, when you look at like if somebody's having a laugh and a joke, some people feel as though they've got to get the last word in or the last thing said. If somebody had a better line, a better finish to something, he would just enjoy that. He didn't need to be the absolute, shall we say, star. He could just enjoy being a part of it.
Yes. Yes.
because that's very much part of his personality, but also he was, by being that way throughout his life, he was a team player and would have enjoyed being the collective, achieving far more than and I'm aware with that from him that that actually applies to yourself, and that you're part of a collective that has been recently achieving and working towards more than what you could achieve on your own.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Yep. I understand that.
Veronica, I'm being made aware here. Would you understand and have memory of visiting with him and taking a balloon for his, and having a real celebration for his birthday and making a big fuss of him?
Yes, there was one birthday that was
Okay.
celebrated. Yeah.
Now, I am aware that he liked cake. I am aware of that. And he very much appreciated a birthday cake and everybody, the little ones, the older ones, everybody going to visit him. But it just seems that, like this balloon, because I felt that as a child, he didn't have that opportunity to have birthday parties like we know of now, for instance. And I just felt that he felt absolutely thrilled to bits that you and the family had made such a fuss about him for his birthday, including presents, cake, and a balloon.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yes, you're
yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring a smile to his face.
Oh, absolutely. I can feel it. And when he smiled, he's got the most beautiful eyes. And
Mhm.
he really was, his face said it all. He didn't always have to say what was troubling him or what was making him happy, because I just felt that his face would have said it all there. And I'm also aware he was little bit like a magnet where children were concerned, and he loved to speak to children. And whenever he went to the supermarket, if he was standing in the queue and there was a little one in front of him, he had to say hello. He had to engage conversation with children. Um,
Yes.
and I just feel that his life experiences, it would have been said to him, you need to write a book. You need to write this down. I don't feel he did, but he could have had a bestseller, Veronica. His life was simply, he was amazing, you know? Oh, you know that.
Yes, he probably could have. Absolutely. Yep. A lot of life experience. Absolutely.
A lot. But he didn't dwell on things that weren't so good, but he certainly did like to boast, and it is quite right and proper, like to boast about his family and how well they were doing, because from where he came from and how all of you have done with your lives, he was astounded, and he never ever lost his amazement, and he was so proud of all of you. And you carry this with you being proud of all the ones who've come after him. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. He
Yeah.
was very much like that.
Yeah.
But what I was aware that he very much wanted to push this forward about this teamwork and this working together to achieve something. And he's keeping an eye on things, because he was never somebody who would ask a lot of questions, but he'd ask one or two questions that would naturally open up and create the opportunity for someone to actually express what they wanted to say, and also
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Absolutely. He was like that. Yeah. He helped me lots of times with just that. Yeah.
because I'm aware of the fact that it's not about bombarding people. It's as important to speak, but it's also important, if not more important, to listen. And he would listen, and you would know that he'd listen, because he would bring other things back, not necessarily at that time, but later on. He would log it, and how's it going now? And time, he he would always give people the time to express what they needed to. But I'm also aware of that with you, that you've been doing that recently with somebody close to you, that you've listened. You've not tried to say, oh, I understand, and this, and that, oh, what I do, and what I, you've just listened, and you have felt what you've listened to, you actually understood them more. You understand this?
I understand most of it, yes.
Right, because I'm aware of this thing of actually the listening, and it actually informs us more because you engage with them, and he wants to acknowledge that and also say, please keep on, because
Okay.
there is something that you've been wavering about, and he's just like, just trust in yourself. You know within you it's what you need to do. There's a need within you. Trust yourself and follow it through.
Thank you. Thank you. I needed to
Thank
hear
you,
that.
Veronica. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you. And it is always an absolute honour. I'm aware of a lady now, and as this lady comes forward, I don't know I am aware of the name of Monica, but I don't feel she is Monica. I feel she is connected to a Monica. And as I am aware of the information and her personality, I feel here that this lady, I want to say that she was a young lady when she passed. I know that that's debatable about whatever age we are. Young is defined by how old we are, isn't it, as individuals? But I felt that this lady was I do feel that she was in her 40s. And I also felt here that when this lady was here, I felt that she was in a position of, if not executive position, in a position of management. And I felt that she organised people, and that in her workplace, she was quite high up within her workplace. I felt that she was a sort of, bear with us. I don't know if you can hear the dog crying. I felt that she was kind of a mover and a shaker, and that she was a professional lady. I felt that she was involved in the legal profession in some way. I feel like I'm rambling now. But does anyone understand a lady like this? I'm not sure exactly how she passed. I don't get that sense, but I know that I do feel that she was in her 40s, and that if she's not Monica, then she relates to Monica in some way. Does this make sense at all?
Thank you, Kath. Who understands this? I know we had a hand that went up real early before you finished, so I
Yeah.
had lowered all the
Might have
hands.
been a mistake.
Who understands this lady or thinks you might? Press your raise hand button.
Okay. First of all, would someone understand a Monica in the spirit world? If I go right back to the very beginning.
Sandy has her hand raised.
Okay.
Sandy, if you could press your unmute button. Hi, Sandy.
Hi.
Does any of that make sense, Sandy?
Not the rest of it but I'm a friend who lost a friend named that.
Okay. Would you understand with your I say yours, I always say it like that, with your Monica, that she was a lady who was in charge of what she was doing in life, and that she organized people?
No,
Okay. You don't know, you don't understand a lady like that in the spirit world?
no.
Okay. Thank you for speaking to me. Anyway, Sandy, thank you. I used to know a lady named Sandy Whitfield who lives in this country, or a similar name anyway. Yes, as I am aware of this lady, I do feel that there was an accident with a car. You felt that as well. I do feel that. And if she isn't Monica, then in some way she is a relative or she connects to a Monica. I also felt that in this life that she was an upstanding member of her community. Does this make sense to anybody at all?
I know everybody's thinking it might not be somebody very close to you. It might be someone
Yeah.
in your circle. Who does this make sense to, or who thinks that they might understand this? Pete has his right hand raised. Hi, Pete.
Hiya, hiya both.
Hiya.
I've got to come through on this. I don't think it is the person I'm thinking of, but my other half, who's now in spirit, that was still is, my cleaning lady, or our cleaning lady, Monica. And the person you're talking about was upstanding, had a position of responsibility, and everything you said so far does sort of go along with it.
Okay, so you understand Monica.
Yes, definitely understand
Okay,
Monica.
and you would understand with your lovely, lovely other half that she was a lady who was she organized and was very good at organizing people,
Yes,
events,
yes.
anything from a birthday party right up to a public event. She was very good at putting things together.
She was good at doing that. Yes, I don't know about birthday parties, but
But do you understand where I'm coming from? In as much as it didn't matter how small or how large something was,
yes,
she could
yes, I
put it
understand.
together.
Yes,
And
I
also
understand.
a creative lady. So she was an ideas person. She had an idea. She could visualize that idea and she could see it through to the very end.
Yes.
And please don't take this the wrong way, but she was very good at organizing you as well, Peter.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Okay, in the
Believe it.
nicest possible way. But I also feel that she had a way of dealing with other people that they felt completely heard and kind of cosseted.
Yes.
She had a way with people that made them feel very important and cared for. And that's because that's who she was. That's how she dealt with people. And it didn't matter who she was dealing with, whether she was dealing with a child or whether she was dealing with someone who was, thought of themselves as being high up in society. She dealt with everybody in the same way with the utmost of respect.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And would you understand that between her and Monica, they had quite a good relationship together?
Yes, they did. Yes.
Okay, because I knew there was a reason why I mentioned Monica. There was no, there had to be a reason for mentioning Monica. Um, and I also felt that your good lady had the utmost of respect for Monica
Yes.
and vice versa. They
Yes,
were
that's
good
true.
friends. They thought a lot of one another. And your lovely other half, I want to say, she's still organising you from the other side.
Yes, that's true. That ties up very nicely. Yes.
And would you
Sandra knows
understand?
about that.
And Monica knows about that. And would you, good
Sandra.
old Monica, would you understand also, Peter, that she would have, in her own way, left instruction, if you like, so that you can continue the good work that she started?
Um, that doesn't apply quite with me, no. She might have left instructions for what I need to be doing now, but not concerned with what she was doing, no.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you exactly, but I'm not going to agree with you either.
All
You
right.
would you would understand that she, in her way, has. I always said when our kids were younger, it's called kidology. She could get you to do things without asking you to do things or telling you to do things, but in her way, she got you to do things. And in
Yeah.
her way, has continued to get you to do things, Pete. And I feel that this leads into what she was doing. It might be remote at this moment in time, but nevertheless, it's in a roundabout way, carrying on from how she was, how she dealt with life, and how she dealt with you.
Yeah. Yes. I think I'm still living her system. Put it that way.
Well, that was something I was just aware of, that the presentation of things mattered, and but that comes from system. When you say about that system and that organization, presentation of self as well as other things around, to make the best of what you've got. I don't want to be spending money if there's no need to spend it, if it could be better used somewhere else. Do you understand that, Peter?
Yes, I understand.
Because, and it's just the way that making that effort. And she was a great believer in making the effort and not going, well, no, I'm not going to do that. And always, it's very easy for us to find a reason not to do something or not to be engaged. But what I am aware of, have you not put the garden to bed yet?
How do you mean? What you mean, the outside?
Yes. Like deadheading everything that needs to be deadheaded
Oh,
and just tidying things up. So it's not
but
immaculate, but just organising and tidying things up.
um, yeah, no, I'm not a gardener, so I don't do things like that normally.
Right, okay. But I'm
I'm
just
sorry.
aware that it's just like
I got
Leave
it.
it.
she liked to have that sort of done. There's
Yeah.
like a time scale. Her schedule,
Yeah.
which didn't necessarily fit in with exactly what the weather was doing. Her schedule, a bit like we go back another generation where we wash on a Monday, we wash on a Wednesday, we wash on a Friday, and it's got to be hung out those days, whether it's raining or not. And I'm aware of that. It's my system. That's enough, and I'm not going to change it just because there's a slight obstacle.
I understand.
But I'm aware of that with you. And she just wanted to sort of like, what you want to do.
Uh-huh.
There may be obstacles, pebbles, little bits of grit, sometimes a boulder in the way. But I'm aware here her attitude was, well, we have to find a way around it. And we have to sometimes just step over it and go, okay, that's there, but this is what I want to do.
I understand.
And you've been neglecting yourself in the fact of not having or taking advantage of opportunities that have presented themselves.
Yeah, maybe. I can't say for sure. I try
Right,
to.
okay. What I was just aware of is this the one where a man's drowning and he asks God for help. And it's that thing of like, well, I want help. Somebody comes along in the rowing boat, no thank you, and God's going to help. Somebody comes along in a fishing boat, no thank you, God's going to
I
help.
know.
You know what I mean? And then a
Like
cruise
that.
line comes, and eventually the man drowns. He says, "Why didn't you accept the help?" Well, it didn't come in the way that I was expecting it.
Yeah, I understand.
And that's what I'm just. That was her way of just saying you need sometimes just go, yes,
Yeah, I understand.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you still have so much to give. And
yeah. I try. I try to.
what you've never, and you didn't with her, is recognize how much you gave. Because
Yeah,
there's times when you question, why the hell is she with me? Because you could see all these wonderful qualities that she had, but she could see all your wonderful qualities.
yes,
And that's why it worked.
yeah. understand.
that I put it in that way, and and it wasn't the massive grand gestures. She was somebody who liked little things. Little things mattered, and that's important.
Yes, if ever there'd have been a grand gesture, she'd have said, "Put me down, Peter." And I don't feel, I feel really that she was a little bit of a firecracker. And once she had an idea in her head, there was no stopping her. She had to go full steam ahead, and she put all her energies into things. And my goodness, what a difference she made to other people's lives, including yours and her own.
Yes, yes, oh yes, that's true.
Yeah. She was again that the Luther Vandross song. She was amazing. She really was. But I also have to say and echo what Mitch has said. She thought you were amazing too.
Oh, that's kind.
You know, and as a couple, you did lots and lots of wonderful, wonderful things, good works, you know, for humanity as a whole, things that you don't talk about and things that you probably never will talk about because that's who you are. You're a very humble man, but she wants you to remember it worked because
Yeah.
it was the two of us, not one, not the other, but the two of us.
Yes, we worked together.
Yeah.
We definitely did. Yeah.
Yeah. Sparks by name, sparks by nature.
Yeah. Not quite. Almost.
But what I was sorry, I've just got what I was aware is it's something that I've seen many times. She had the ability to address somebody, and they knew they were put straight, but the voice isn't raised above just slightly more than normal talking tone, but it was the emphasis on the words, and they knew that they were put right. And injustice was something that she couldn't accept on your behalf, on other people's behalf. And that's the same for you. And she just wanted to acknowledge that things that of standing up for, and we don't all have to bawl and shout about it. We can do things quietly, and just wanted to acknowledge your quiet support for somebody else within your circle.
Yes. Okay. I never heard it shout at all.
Yeah. That's I've only been shouted at once by Catherine. The rest of the time I've been told, and I know.
That's it.
But that's what she was bringing forward to me, that it's,
Yeah.
you know,
That's it.
that you know, you've been told. You don't need to be shouted at.
Oh, thank you so much, Peter.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you very much. Now,
Much appreciated.
I am aware of two people, and I'd like Rosemary to get typing. I am aware of the Queen song, Bohemian Rhapsody. And I do believe, Rosemary, you like Queen, or you liked Queen, or you like Queen. But I kept hearing Rosemary, yes, okay. And I kept hearing God Save the Queen as well, as they sang it, or as Freddie Mercury sang it. I'm also aware and was aware of watching Queen live, whether it's on, but I felt it was like watching it on the television. I'm looking at the webinar chat thing for Rosemary to respond. And I only knew it was you because I kept hearing Happy Birthday being sung, and I could hear a man's voice and a lady's voice. And Rosemary, would it be correct to say that your mom was a force to be reckoned with? And I want to say God help anybody who ever tried to be less than kind to you or to hers. Does that make sense, Rosemary? Yes, oh yes, okay. Because now I'm not saying your dad wasn't like that, but I just felt that your mum, heaven help anybody who tried to suggest something or to oppose her. Oh my goodness me. Your mum had the fight of 10 men within her, and I do understand to a degree. She fought, they both did, for everything that you were only ever entitled to. But your mum fought for everything. And if you needed something, you had it, because mum made sure of it, as did your dad, and I am aware of the both of them. And Rosemary, you've had a fight on your hands recently where people have tried to change what you know and what you're comfortable with and what you understand.
Yes.
Okay. And she is not happy. And you know what your mum was like when she wasn't happy. She would dress anybody down. It didn't matter who they were, whether it was someone who thought they were, you know, highly faluted. When you were at school, with all the support that you've had to have in your life, if she didn't like what she saw, if she didn't, and she only ever had to look at your face to know if you were happy with something, and then it changed because mum wasn't happy. She knew you weren't happy, so she had to say it.
Yes.
She's not happy. And you have good people on your side who are there working alongside you, helping you to get what you need right now, because change has to happen, but only if you're comfortable with it. It can't be for other people.
Absolutely, she says.
So, Rosemary, I don't mean to be awful, but I don't feel your mum had the best singing voice in the world. And I don't mean to insult her. Is that true? He's thinking about it.
No, she said.
She liked singing, your mum, but I don't feel that she was exactly I can't, I'm trying.
Maria Callas.
Maria Callas, yes, that's a good example. Not exactly Maria Callas, but my goodness, she gave it some welly. And she had an amazing sense of humour. She made you laugh until you could barely breathe at times, and your dad the same. She made you all laugh. Sometimes she made you cry, sometimes she embarrassed you, but she always knew what she was doing and why she was doing it, and there was always a reason for it. Mitch.
What I was aware from your mum is that food was very important, and also your diet has always been something that she focused on, and was very quick if you had an upset stomach, that she could identify and take out of your diet quite quickly to balance things out. And that's important about what was cooked, and she would cook whatever was necessary for you. Now, your dad, on the other hand, it's food, I'll take it. That was his attitude. Do you understand that?
True, she said.
Okay.
Because that's what I was just aware of, that if it was even things that he wasn't much for, he'd still eat it if that was on his plate. But that was more also your mum's attitude of, this is what I've cooked, this is what we've got. And that has been spoken with others before, but it's that teamwork and that working together to achieve what is needed, not just around you, but also for them. They were a team, but they both had their own qualities. And Your dad's way was just being, when he said no, it was no. There's no explanation. It's
True.
no. And that was his way. And if he felt something was right, then he would support. But what I'm also aware of here, as emotional as your mum could be, like pop, your dad very much would have that ability that even if he didn't agree with somebody or like someone, he would still take it for what the actions or the words were and recognize that and say, well, I don't agree with them on everything else, but on this, I see that's right. So he had that ability and would listen very well.
And he was also a great diplomat, your dad. Smooth the waters where your mum would go, and Rosemary, would you understand your mum, and this is going back some time, fighting for you with the powers that be about getting some new equipment for you, something that she'd seen, and I feel it was over a wheelchair, a new wheelchair that you had. It was kind of new technology for you all at this point in your life, but I am aware that your mum had found out about it and wanted it for you, and fought and fought and fought, and did manage to get you a new wheelchair, or the start of the process to getting you a new wheelchair. Does that make sense, Rosemary? I'm also aware that you would remember, Rosemary, being taken to oh, not her. Okay, but you remember I remember a fight about a wheelchair that you needed that would help you, especially with your body positions. They're being upright and not slouching, so helping you to be more upright, if that makes sense, because that helps your core with everything. But I'm also aware you would have memory, and I felt that it was a special birthday, and I'm not sure if it was your 18th, where you went somewhere special and there was a real celebration for your birthday. And again, I can see balloons and a cake and lots of family and friends there, where they all sang to you. So shall we sing now?
Yes.
Can we sing,
Oh,
Sandra?
of course we can.
Technically,
Well,
maybe not.
I'm sorry, Rosemary, my voice is rubbish, but here we go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rosemary. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Rosemary, and lots of love from us.
And what I was just aware of there, just that your dad, he had wonderful hair, and you love that touch of your dad's. He used to just touch your hair and scrunch your hair up and say beautiful. And I've just got the words, you're beautiful. And just scrunching your hair. That's what I just wanted to do there, Rosemary.
She says, thanks so much.
You are very, very welcome. Thank you.
Oh, Kath and Mitch, thank you so much. And happy birthday, Rosemary. And we love to celebrate, friends. So you just let us know in the chat box if you got a birthday or on our Sundays, and we will celebrate with you. All right, some announcements. First of all, Kath and Mitch, we won't see them again on a Sunday gathering till mid-December, but they will be back. But on the 25th of September, they will be hosting the free Grief Cafe. This is not recorded for your privacy. It's just a wonderful place to be with friends, learn some wonderful tools and things about grief, and just be loved and cared for. It's a very, very, very special time. So that's on the 25th. You can visit Kath and Mitch's website, which is thesoultrust.com. Now I have listed at wedon'tdie.com the store on the store page where you can register for the free grief cafe. So that might be a really easy way to get that. But of course, their website is thesoultrust.com. You can find out more about these two lovely people. Also coming up on wedon'tdie.com, we got classes, and Carrie and Phil will be our demonstrating mediums next Sunday. There are medium tutors. Also, I've got some new podcast episodes, many things coming up in October, so you can just check that out. To register for our Sunday gathering or other things, again, you can either go to the store page or the Sunday gathering page and register for the next ones. And also you can watch some of the past Sunday gatherings there too. Now, I'd special shout out to Brenda and some other friends that are with us. I just happened to notice you folks have been very kind to donate to make our Sunday gathering possible. It's not possible to say everybody by name just because I get tongue-tied, but you know who you are. We really thank you. It does get expensive running this and sending it out to the world. But if you should ever choose you'd like to donate, thank you. If not, no problem there as well. But you'd find that at the Sunday gathering page at wedon'tdie.com. So just a last couple of things for me before I'll turn it over to one of my friends for the closing prayer. But on this topic of change, you know, it's so easy to watch the news and be depressed, and there's a lot of awful things that are happening. But there's also some good things that we don't often see on the news, but we have to look around us in our backyard. And just maybe that little slight change within us can come from not looking to see what's wrong, but looking to see what is right. Because we may be divided on religion or politics or whatever, but there's some good, loving people, even yourself, that there's a lot to be grateful for. So, like we spoke about today, it starts from within. Whatever we choose to concentrate on will continue to grow. Is it going to be something good or is it going to be something not so good? You can try that rice experiment if you like. You can also put a banana in two different rooms and try that experiment yourself. But when we are made up of so much water, and so is this earth, why not take the time for some gratitude, pay some compliments to people, look in the mirror, say something nice to yourself, and just remember the Sunday gathering, how change starts from within, and it starts within our own thoughts. So we're so grateful that you're here. And it's difficult being a human being. And we try to remind ourselves as much as remind you that we are these divine souls having a human experience. Our loved ones are around us. They support us. We will see them again. This life is a tough, tough place, but find the joy and make the joy. So with that, I'll turn it over to one of my friends for the closing prayer.
Thank you, Sandra, and thank you for the opportunity to be with you all today on this beautiful Sunday. Well, it's dark here now. I hope it's nice wherever you are and that your day continues to be good. Divine and infinite Spirit, we thank you for our many blessings in life. We thank you for this opportunity to come together, though the miles mean absolutely nothing when we can come together on a platform such as this. It really is the most beautiful way to communicate with our loved ones, with those unseen worlds within worlds, and to share common ground. We thank those who have gone before us for coming by today, reminding us of just how much we are loved, how precious we are, how priceless we are as individuals and collectively, and how no matter what happens in this world, we are loved. These lessons in life are worth more than money could ever offer to us. They are indeed priceless and precious. And so we leave this service in your care and in your keeping now for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, until we come together once more. May we walk in harmony, in peace, being mindful that we are all individuals and that we all deserve the very best that this life has to offer. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Kath. And thank you, Mitch. And thank you, our Sunday gatherers, and of course, our loved ones in the spirit world. So, as we go into our closing song, it's called A Million Dreams. So, keep those dreams alive, and you never know what will happen. Here we go. Beautiful song. Friends, thank you so much for joining us for our Sunday gathering. Kath and Mitch, love you both. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week, if not
you,
sooner.
Sandra.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you, everybody.
Sandra.
Thank
Lots
you.
of love.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.